Hey everyone, Hammeh here. In this video I'm showing a few thoughts on how to try and make queuing solo and competitive in Overwatch a better experience for yourself and for everyone. Solo queue can be frustrating. Whether your friends aren't online, you're new to the game, or just getting started, maybe trying rank for the first time, going it alone can be tough, particularly if you want to climb the ladder. Outside of the usual advice of team up with people, I've rubber banded between rank 49 and 38 this first season with a lot of solo queuing after some painful placement games. So this isn't a guide on how to get good, more sharing my thoughts on how I approach solo queues, mentally and attitude wise, as well as things that can make solo queue games more enjoyable for everyone involved. Hopefully something strikes a chord with you. Here's some thoughts and tips on how to make it better for you and everyone else, but also hopefully to give you the best chance possible of a good game as a lower level player. Number 1, prepare to flex. Before I play, I honestly try to evaluate my skill. Can you carry games by your sheer accuracy and attacking abilities alone? If so, then brilliant. Having a mix of offensive heroes at your disposal and trying to pick them as many times as possible can be a good way to carry games. In the 30s and 40s and sometimes 50s, where I've spent a bunch of my time playing, you can see a good offensive hero make a big difference on their own. If, like most of us, you're not at that level, and let's face it, by the law of averages that's probably most people, always have a few heroes prepared. Having a few supports and tanks will always help your team, and you need to have that ability to flex if your favourite picks aren't available. For example, I tend to try and pick Reinhardt and Zarya for tanks, and in terms of support, have a Lucio, Zenyatta or Mercy handy. This means that if my team are picking other choices, I can always do something that means I can be useful. Take heroes, if in any doubt, that give you a greater degree of control of the game, and that maybe rely a little bit less on your team's composition or support. Also, ones that are super simple for your team to understand. Zarya is often quoted as a tank that's good in solo queue. You can be the playmaker. You can shield yourself and your teammates to control your damage and the amount of damage that some of them take, and Graviton Surge is understood by most players. It gives them nice easy targets. Equally, Reinhardt is a similarly team-friendly pick. By team-friendly, I mean that most people, regardless of their experience level, know how to play with him and what he does. You put up your shield, people will stand behind it. On the flip side of things, take a hero like Ana. She's an example of a hero that's a little bit less solo queue friendly in a team who might not be sure how to work with her. For example, you might be an amazing skilled sniper, but if you support as Ana, you're the only support, and your team are breaking line of sight, not pushing together to make use of Bartek Grenade, then for example, a Lucio pick might just be easier. Secondly, try and make the start of the game positive, both in conversation and in tactics. It's amazing how many games head south immediately after an argument at the beginning in text chat over hero picks and composition, before the game's even started. Try not to start off on the wrong note, greet everyone, be polite, show your willingness to help, and be flexible, crack a few jokes, and it's amazing how much this can help. Put together a team composition that works, be the broker and be the mediator. A lot of people in solo queue and in competitive like to quote 2 tanks, 2 supports and 2 DPS, the often fabled esports composition. Now, in reality, that may work fine with 2 really strong DPS in esports level play. In competitive solo queue and at lower levels, the truth can be very different. You might not have 2 strong DPS, you might not have 2 strong anything in any position, and equally, you don't have to have this. Many maps and some teams will work a lot better without it. Try and play to your team's strengths and adapt to your opposing team's composition and tactics rather than trying to stick to any individual mix of heroes or roles. Number 3, deliver suggestions and feedback politely. Criticising people for their decisions, particularly in text chat, can make anyone in Overwatch immediately defensive and uncooperative. That's not what you want for a successful. Rather than criticising people for their choices or decisions, try and offer positive choices and alternatives and explain why you're doing so. Common examples: you run a lot into people using defense or sniper heroes on attack in strange maps or situations, attacking Torbjorns in various situations, attacking Bastions at lower levels without the right support, and all kinds of sorts and weird and wonderful things. In short, people playing their favourite heroes or their strong heroes in situations where they might not necessarily work. Now, instead of insulting them or telling them to switch right away, I try and explain why that's not a good idea and offer them some different options. I'm happy to support, but I think we need we could probably do with some DPS that moves a bit more, because we got Widow, Bastion and Torbjorn, so if one of you guys can switch, that'd be awesome. 76 is good, yeah, that's really good, if you don't mind.
Oh, this is my jam!
Cheers, man. This kind of thing will help people cooperate with you a bit more and show that you're willing to change your behaviour too. Finally, if a person in your team or people in your team really aren't changing their hero, playstyle or approach, try to use what they're doing to find some kind of advantage. I've lost count of some of the times I've had Torbjorns playing with turrets on King of the Hill maps. What I try and do is use their turrets as distractions to try and flank while opponents are dealing with them. Now, the turret may not last long, the Torbjorn might not last long either. It's better to work with what you have than leave them to struggle and just make it a 5v6 with them dying all the time. Number 4 thing I try and do is always communicate and over communicate where it makes sense. Now I can't stress enough how much one person on comms who's positive can be the difference in a solo queue game. Really, get on a mic if you can. Top tips on making some calls: keep your calls short and simple. You don't have to be a tactical super brain, and some things will always help people. For example, on defense, call if you're being flanked, if people are behind the lines or attacking your support heroes. You can always call incomings with directions. A push is coming to the main gate, for example. And key events. Ultimates are being used, resurrects are being used, and pushes are incoming. Point. Reinhardt the push. McCree, hide McCree out incoming. Come on guys. On offense, try and call similar. Tell your team as well when a push has failed and organise people grouping up. This saves the lemmings 1-by-1 approach that can so often happen in solo queue when you have a team that's losing or disjointed on attack. Yeah, nice heal. Okay, I've got grabbed on Surge. I'm just going to have to wait till I go there. You ready guys? Meals, I'll shield you. Ready? Oh, when you're healed. Also, someone being on comms encourages other people who have mics to use them. Be the leader, be the first person to talk, and if you're not confident in wider strategy, just make those simple calls that are simple, sensible, and that will always help people regardless. The 5th thing I try to remind myself, and sometimes honestly with more success than others, is to try and avoid tilting and taking breaks. Now, if you've not heard the term tilt before in card games and poker, it's generally when your frustration or emotion causes you to make bad decisions. Then you kind of play over aggressively or badly, that then causes you perhaps to lose or perform worse, that then causes you more frustration. You can get in a bit of a self-feeding circle. It can apply to a lot of games. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've lost a bunch of levels in Overwatch this season alone, and Hearthstone in a previous YouTubing life went on tilt before, through keeping playing when I really should have just taken a break or taken a step back. Don't undo your good work and good games by playing on when you're having a bad patch or frustrated. Jump into quick play and relax, take a break, or just do something else. Making progress sometimes is as much about knowing as when to take a break and not undo your good work as moving forward too. Thanks very much for listening. There's a few thoughts on how I try, sometimes unsuccessfully, to stay calm in solo queue, and a few things I think could make the experience better for everyone. As for the success this brings in climbing, well, I'll let you know in the coming weeks and seasons. I'm going to have a fresh reset with Season 2 and see how we go from there. This is a bit of a new video type for me, so please let me know what you liked, didn't like, what you disagreed with or agreed with, and what you'd add to these thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. All my usual Overwatch lore, story and news series are linked in the playlists here. Do check them out if you've got some time. Until next time, I'm Hammeh. Take it easy.